Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. It's a little bit later than usual for this 6 Things We Learned video. I was at a fashion show yesterday. You guys know that recently I've been getting into clothing with my friend Benson, launching the brand very soon. And a friend of mine had a fashion show yesterday, so I was pretty busy. I was locked up, trying on clothes and watching catwalks and all of that stuff. But I'm not here to talk about catwalks and fashion because this is the George Benson football channel, the home of Chelsea news, the home of 6 Things We Learn, the series after every single game. And the West Brom game, West Brom 3, Chelsea 3. I mean, last season we were used to heart attack moments as Chelsea fans. There were many moments in the season where we look at the defending and we're just like, what is this? We look at the attacking and we're like, this is pretty good. We're confused, you know? And to go 3-0 down away at West Bromwich Albion is unacceptable for Chelsea Football Club. It's not something that I'm happy about. The fight back was very good, but for a 6 Things We Learned video, this has been one of the toughest ones to do because when you look at a football match, at the end of the 90 minutes, all you have is the final result and the amount of points that you obtain as a result of that result. Chelsea get 1 point in a game where we should be winning. You look at all of the other teams this weekend, Everton are doing some serious business. Leicester City score 5 away at Manchester City. City are about to sign Ruben Diaz to try and fix their defensive problems. There are teams that are doing very well, and there's a lot of competition in the Premier League this season, so Chelsea going to West Brom and coming away with a 3-3 draw isn't good enough. But we're going to analyse it today, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to start with a red box. And normally, this guy's either blue box material or red box material. And Marcos Alonso, after that performance against West Brom, I don't see how he can be close to this Chelsea starting 11 again anytime soon. It was an awful performance from Alonso. The initial error for the header, I mean, it's the most simple headed pass to a West Brom player that you could ever see. To give the West Brom man the ball, and then they end up putting it in the back of the net. Maybe Willy Caballero could have done better for the first goal. But Alonso just looks so off the pace. Sometimes when we see him, particularly if he's in a wing-back role, he looks very good. And I've said this a million times. Alonso's like a Marmite kind of player. 1 minute you love it, next minute you hate it. Or with Marmite, you either love it forever or you hate it forever. But Marcos Alonso at left back, we know it's just a recipe for disaster. When he's playing in a back four, there's been some games that he's played that he's been pretty good in that position. But this game against West Brom was not his best. He got caught out of position too many times. We see when he runs back, I've made jokes about it before, but I'm not the quickest player or the quickest guy in the world, but I definitely would be a little bit quicker than Marcos Alonso was to get back for those moments in this West Brom game. Who's that? Oh. So we move into box number 2. We're going to go with a red box again. I want to get the negatives out of the way so that this isn't just a video of me bitching and complaining about how poor Chelsea are defensively. Mateo Kovacic, player of the season last season, put in a load of wonderful performances. We know what he is. We know the role that he has in this team where we break the game down from the middle, transition it forward. Kovacic is a good tackler. He got lost in this game and there were so many times. I was in the car on the way back from my friend's house. He just sat next to me right now. I was in the car and I was watching it and I just saw him running around as if to say, like, he did not know what his role was in this game and he got caught out of position, caught in possession too many times. And I think when Chelsea play well, those holding midfielders are the ones that string it together. They're the ones that set the tempo, they set the mood, they break up the play, they allow us to transition. There wasn't any of that in that first half, and considering how bad we can be defensively, Christensen made errors. I don't want to talk about that too much today. Thiago Silva, it wasn't the kind of debut in the Premier League that we saw in that game against Barnsley, and I think the key was there that it was Barnsley. 6-0, Thiago Silva looked fantastic. He didn't look out of place. He was off the pace. Christensen also off the pace in this game. And it just goes to show how much we miss Kurt Zouma. He's been the best centre-back at the club now, pretty much the whole of last season and the early stages of this season as well. And I think for me, I could have given either of those 2 red boxes today, but I didn't want to make it too red because, you know, there's been very famous games in the history of football where teams have gone 3-0 down, come back to draw 3-3, and I kind of wanted to touch upon those positives a little bit more today as opposed to just focusing on all of the alarming negatives again. And I bring it back to what I said at the beginning of the video where Chelsea shouldn't be going to West Brom and coming away happy with a point. At the end, when you get a last minute equaliser from 3-0 down, you kind of do go away happy. But because I've had 24 hours now to sit on the game and think about it, the performance from Kovacic in the middle wasn't good, and considering how much competition there is for places right now in this Chelsea midfield, again, you can be player of the season one season, season, but as Frank Lampard picks his team based off of the meritocracy, if he's playing at that kind of level, then we know that he's not going to be picked for the next game. There's other players that can come into those positions. We've got Ziyech to come back. We could see Havertz drop deeper. We could maybe see Ziyech play deeper, putting those balls over the top for those Timo Werner runs. But I want to move away from the Reds. I want to talk about some good stuff now. And there were some very good things from Mason Mount. Created 4 key chances, scored a wonderful goal outside of the box to have the confidence to take that shot. We know he can do it. We saw the free kick that secured top 4 football last season against Wolves on the final day. Mason Mount pings one, and it really set the mood for Chelsea. It gave them that ability to grab the game by the horns and actually go for it. You know, when we're 3-0 down, we know we've played bad defensively, but with that attacking threat that we have, I thought Mason was very good. He was creating a lot of passes. His pass accuracy was good. I think it was something like 90%. Which is decent in a game where Chelsea were stupidly giving the ball away and conceding chances. Mason Mount gets a green, and I think he probably was our best player. And again, people question whether and how Mason Mount's going to keep his place in this Chelsea team with all of the attacking players we've brought in. But again, every single time people question him, he delivers. And I think it was a very good performance from Mason, particularly in the second half. But the man who everyone's been questioning, and he finally answered the questions with a goal. Callum Hudson-Odoi. He's come in for scrutiny. People have been questioning the wages, questioning the attitude. Frank Lampard's not been starting him because he's not seeing enough from him when he's given minutes in the games. When he is training, there's something that isn't quite right with the attitude of Callum Hudson-Odoi. However, the goal he scored was absolutely brilliant. Again, we see the link-up play with Havertz. We're seeing some lovely little touches around the box from Havertz, linking with Werner, linking with Mount, linking with Tammy Abraham as well. It was a lovely goal. Nice little 1-2 from Callum Hudson-Odoi. Beautiful finish, very similar to one of the West Brom goals actually, into the bottom corner of the game, and it gave Chelsea momentum. You know, we scored 2 goals in relatively quick succession. I wasn't disappointed with the intensity, because if you look at the possession stats, we absolutely dominated them all over. This game should never have finished 3-3. Timo Werner hit the bar as well in the first half. You start to look at all of these moments that almost went Chelsea's way, but they didn't quite go Chelsea's way, and we end up going away with a point. Callum Hudson-Odoi was very good. Moving into box number 5, it is a yellow, and it's Frank Lampard. You know, I'm always here defending Frank, and I even made a video where I uploaded everything to Twitter, a nice little 90-second segment defending Lampard, and how crazy it is that some people are actually considering that Lampard should be out. I think it's just one of those trends where people love to just go against the grain. Whenever there's a big group of people supporting something, you're always going to get those people that oppose it. And when I was talking about Lampard out and how I was defending him, I really looked for logical reasons and rationale as to why people might actually say he should go. Now that I've watched this game against West Brom again, I've watched back the highlights, I've analysed the game myself, and I look at the tactics, and I don't think the way that we set up was good enough for a game against West Brom. I think we should have been a lot more attacking. The pace should have been a lot stronger in the first half. We weren't playing quick enough, and I think a lot of that was down to Frank. And again, I saw that Chilwell played against Barnsley, and I thought, why is Alonso back in the team? Like, is Chilwell even injured? Like, what is the purpose for bringing Marcus Alonso back into this team? If Chilwell's fit, we can't just be messing around thinking that West Brom are a newly promoted side and it's a guaranteed 3 points. If players are fit, we need to be playing with the strongest 11 that we could possibly field. And I think the team selection from Frank maybe wasn't right. Again, people question Mount being on the wing and Callum on the bench. Mason Mount delivered. So there is a catch-22 with that. There is a balance. But I don't think the way that we set up in this game was ever designed for us to confidently go ahead for the win. But I do move into box number 6, the final box, and I'll put a boxing glove in there because Chelsea have got the fight. Games last season when we started going behind, we'd lose our heads. We'd be looking around for a leader on the pitch, someone who can actually make that difference. We have that now in Thiago Silva. Even though it wasn't his best game, I feel as though the influence on the dressing room, and when you go in at half-time losing 3-0, I'm sure that Frank was ripping into the boys. I'm sure that everybody in that dressing room was looking at one another in frustration. We came out in that second half, and despite it being a frustrating draw, to come back from 3-0 down, it's not the easiest thing to do. And I think I will end this video on a positive note saying what we saw in that second half from Chelsea was a lot stronger defensively. We're dominating possession of the ball. We're passing it around fast. We're getting into scoring positions. And we did score 3 goals in that second half. And it could have been a lot worse. If we lose that game 3-2, with all of the possession that we had, we'd be scratching our heads wondering how the hell we've not come away with anything. It's not ideal, and as I've mentioned earlier, we look at the other teams and how well they're doing already. We're already 5 points off the top, and after 3 games, we want to be in contention. We want to be fighting for the title, and we've got to convert these points into 3. So moving forward, positives for sure. We've got a massive game again tomorrow night against Spurs, and there will be a match preview out first thing in the morning, UK time, for you guys to feast your eyes on. I want to pick a strong team for this one. I think Chelsea need to build momentum, and it's Tottenham. I don't want to be filled in a weak side just because it's the League Cup. We've got to be looking at this as an opportunity to build on that second half display, go to Spurs, get the result, and then we move into the Premier League games, which are obviously the most important at the weekend. But anyway, you guys know 6 things we learned is nothing without you guys letting me know your 6 things in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about this. I know people are still frustrated. We're also very happy with the comeback. Let me know what your 6 things are in the comments down below, and I will catch you guys tomorrow with a brand new video. See you all there.